Okay, so question 13 to 16 are from this passage that talks about Aztecs' view of history and how they recorded history. So it begins with the discussion that initially it seemed like Aztec histories, they did not have any chronological order, they were repetitive in nature, and they were covering the same thing multiple times. So this was the belief of the scholars earlier. Later, however, it was found that this was not some sort of a bug or some error. It was actually a feature. This is how Aztecs recorded their histories because they felt that any event can have multiple perspectives and they wanted to accommodate as many perspectives as they could. So that's why they devised a method in which multiple speakers stood up at different times and different moments and they narrated the event from their point of view, and then those viewpoints were recorded. Right. Then the author says that, however, does not mean that they did not believe in any truth. They just believed in accommodating multiple perspectives. They felt that, different perspectives can exist together. To truth, they said, was composite. That was their view. Okay, so, and history therefore comprised of such constituent truths, such different constituent truths, right? The new they were convinced didn't necessarily have to obliterate the old. So these were their views regarding history, and they were reflected in their recording of the history. 15th, which one of the following best explains the additional perspective that the example of the Christians illustrates? So best explains this additional perspective. Okay, so the example of Christians is given towards the end. See this. By the mid 1500s, when they were transcribing the old performances, they had survived the arrival of the Europeans. This was no time to give up. Rather, it was time to add another perspective, that of the Christians. So they added their perspective, they accommodated their perspective, right? So let's see which option is the closest. The example explains how the perspective of the Aztecs changed with the arrival of the Christians. Did it change with the arrival of the Christians? Okay, uh, we'll see whether I can say that they added or whether it's changed. So if you look at C is definitely better than B, because while B says it's changed, C says it integrated the Christian perspective, which is a better reflection of what I've just read for you. So C is the answer and not B, right? A and D could be eliminated easily. D says they were narrated from a Christian perspective. No, not just from a Christian perspective. They became yet another chapter in history. That means they were not given a lot of importance, or uh, they were forgotten somehow. That is the impression that A gives, which does not match the details of my passage. So we are left with C, and C is the answer. Again, not a difficult question. Okay, if you just go back and read that example, so easy.